child is going to annoy you every single day. And if you clump it up with the annoying thing that they did 6 months ago, now you're just here. Now you're just up to, like, the ball is this big and you can't even, like, hold it. It's falling out the screen. Let me get out the screen. I can't get out the stream. My wingspan isn't that big. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to my channel if you are new here. How you doing? How your mama now? My name is Zahara. I'm a wife, a mom, a content creator, and we glorify God on this side. So today's video is a heavy topic. This is something that really hits home with me because this is something that I deal with, that I am currently trying to undo within our household, and it is very hard. And I have talked about this openly on my Instagram. I have talked about this openly to my friends, to my husband. Like, I'm very open when it comes to this topic, and we're going to be talking about mom rage, y'all. So before we get started with the video, if you would be so kind to subscribe to my channel, I greatly appreciate it. And make sure to check the description box because I leave all of my social media handles down below. So let's go ahead and get into the topic. So like I said before, y'all, this is something that I deal with currently, and this is something I am ever trying to get over, and it's very difficult. And I know a lot of moms who deal with the same thing as me, and it's just mom rage, like a constant irritation, aggravation, irritant with your children. Like, you always feel like upset with them or angry with them, and it's like a constant, ever going thing. And for a long time, y'all, it was very difficult for me to pinpoint, like, why do I feel like this? But over time, I have been able to pinpoint 5 reasons why we have this mom rage. And some of these things on the list I don't personally deal with, but through talking to other moms, that's how I kind of curated this list. So let's get into it. So number 1 is you're holding on to past behaviors. And I don't want to say you. I'm going to change. I'm going to say we. We are holding on to past behaviors. I am 100% guilty of this thing, y'all. And I think this is one thing that really fuels my rage and my irritation and aggravation towards my children. I'm holding on to past bad behaviors. And it's unfair. In situations when I'm dealing with my children, I always mirror it after my relationship with my husband. So if I'm yelling at my children and I'm going off on them, I always say, well, would I like my husband to yell at me and go off on me? So in every situation, that's what I want to be doing. So holding on to past bad behaviors. If my husband never forgave me for the wrong things that I did, and he constantly held on to things that I did a year ago, 2 years ago, 6 months ago, I would be so upset because I'm like, you're not even letting me grow, or you're not even letting me change, or you're not even realizing the change that I've made or the forgiveness that I've already asked of you. So with my children, I do not extend that same ideology. I don't know if that's the word I want to use, but that's the word I'm going to use. So let's say, for example, 4 months ago, my daughter did something and it was bad behavior. 4 months later, I'm still holding on to the grudge or the irritation from her doing that. Number 1, it's a sin because we're not supposed to hold grudges. And number 2, it's just not fair because she could have already repented of that thing. She could have already told me she was sorry. She could have already prayed to God and asked for forgiveness. And me, I'm still holding on to the past misbehaving. You know what I mean? And oftentimes we group all the misbehavior together in one lump. So if she lies to me about something, I'm going to group it up with the time that she didn't clean her room, the time that she yelled at her brother, the time that she broke something of mine, the time that she talked back to me. I'm lumping everything all together. And if we do that, it's always going to be this resentfulness that you have towards your children because you're lumping every little thing that they do all together in one big ball, and it's just sitting inside of you and festering and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And in the long run, you're going to grow to hate your children, and that's not what we want to do. I don't want to do that. I know that you don't want to do that, and it's something that we really have to try to not do. It is something that I am working on every single day because I realize that I do that. And when I sit back at the end of the day and I'm like, why was I even mad at her today? Or why was I mad at them today? It's because I am like creating this snowball of ill feelings toward them for something that they did a while ago with something that they did today. And it's really not fair, because I wouldn't want my friends or my husband or anyone to do that to me. So why do I feel so comfortable doing it to my children? Anytime I think about this, I always think of this specific scripture. I will put it across the bottom, but it pretty much just says, if you can't forgive what people do to you, how could you expect the Lord to forgive you? And I know that I have done some ungodly, unholy things that I want the Lord to forgive me for, so I must forgive my children. And for whatever reason, it is so hard to do, like I said, because we are just clumping everything together, and it's like a perpetual, continual thing, because your child is going to annoy you every single day. And if you clump it up with the annoying thing that they did 6 months ago, now you just here. Now you're just up to, like, the ball is this big and you can't even like hold it. It's falling out the screen. Let me get out the screen. I can't get out the stream. My wingspan isn't that big. But it's so much like irritation and resentment and frustration that you have that it's just like ongoing, and it's getting bigger and it's getting bigger. So we need to just forgive our children for misbehavior and give them like a fresh start every single day, because that's what we want the Lord to do for us. Number 2 is kind of coupled with the first one, and that's just that we have unreal expectations for our children. When we have unreal expectations, it just fuels that irritation, because when they do something that is even a little bit under the bar that you have set for them, you are irritated. So we gotta bring the bar down just a little bit. Like, my oldest 2 are 7 years old, and I have a pretty high expectation for them. And whenever they do not meet it, I am almost immediately irritated, and I'm very snappy, and I'm upset, and I'm yelling, and I'm going off, because my expectation is up here and they're here with it. You see where the confusion is coming. I will give you an example. When it comes to their schoolwork, my expectation is here. When I was in school, y'all, I loved school. I was so eager to go to school every day and learn and just put my best foot forward. I love to read. I love to write. I love to learn about history. I didn't really love math and science, but I still pretty much excelled in them. So whenever they are not doing those things, I'm irritated, because my expectation is up here because I was up here. That's where I was. So I want them to be at the same level as me. At 7 years old, I was reading full books, and my children struggle with reading. So when I see that they are struggling with reading, I'm pissed. And when I see that they're not excited to do school, I'm pissed, because they are not meeting the expectation that I set for them, and that may be unreal for them. The difference in our schooling was I went to public school, they are homeschooled. So if they are not excelling in something and they're not eager to learn, that honestly falls on me. But the expectation is for them to already be eager to learn and to already be on this certain type of level. And it takes a little bit of self-reflection and self-examination for me to say, okay, well, if they are not eager to learn and they're not reading at this certain level, if they can't count to this certain number, what am I doing wrong? But in that moment, I'm not thinking about what I'm doing wrong. I'm thinking about what you're doing wrong, because why are you not meeting this expectation that I set for you? So I think oftentimes, y'all, we just have these unreal expectations for our children, and we really got to take it on a case-by-case level. And once again, I always like to flip it back on a wife and a husband's type of relationship. And I will give you this example because it's like a joke, but it's really not a joke, because it does happen in real life. I've seen it like on comedy skits. I've seen it on movies. I've seen women talk about it on TikTok. So I know that it is a real thing. Like when your husband compares you to his mom, right? And he's like, oh, well, my mom never cleaned like that, and my mom didn't cook like that. Oh, and my mom didn't dress like that. My mom didn't talk like that. As a woman, it infuriates you, because his expectation is right here. His mom is the expectation for what he is looking for, right? And you're down here, so we feel upset. Same for our children. My expectation is up here, and maybe it's because, oh, this is how I was, or this is how this child is, or this is just what I want for you, and they're here. So instead of getting upset, instead of getting irritated, we need to nurture them and figure out, okay, so why are you not meeting this expectation? Let me help you elevate to this level. Or we need to bring the expectation down a few notches and make it more realistic for your child. For me, I have twins, and my expectation is here for both of them, but that's not realistic for both of them. Maybe for one of them, the expectation needs to be here, and the other one, it needs to be here. Even though they're twins, they are very different. They learn different. They act different. They're just different people, but I measure them on the same expectation scale, if that makes sense. So that's something that I need to look inward, because I'm the mom and they're with me pretty much 100% of the time. Like, their dad works, they are homeschooled, and the burden falls on me. I don't want to say burden, but the responsibility falls on me. So if they are not excelling in any area of being a child, then that just falls on me. And that's some self-examination that I have to do, and it's a hard pill to swallow. So as a mom, y'all, we got to step our cookies up so that they can reach these expectations that we have for them, or we need to lower our expectations because they're just too high and it don't even make sense. Moving on to number 3, y'all, is that we are just dealing with our own childhood traumas that we have never corrected, we have never nurtured, we have never fixed, and we are just projecting all of that childhood trauma onto our children. So I will talk briefly about my childhood trauma, okay? I don't necessarily think it was trauma, but I will just say this. My mom was not very affectionate. It was not a bunch of hugs. It was not a bunch of kisses and ooey gooey lovey-dovey stuff. I knew that my mom loved me. My mom is just not a very affectionate person. Hence, I am not a very affectionate person, because that is just that's how I was brought up. My children are very affectionate people. Where they got it from, child beats me, but they love for me to hug them and kiss on them, and mama just don't want to do that, okay? So that's a childhood trauma that I am bringing over into my children. So my daughter, sometimes she just wants to just like be with me, and that's just not what I want, because I wasn't like that with my mom. My mom was a workaholic, y'all. She was out there getting it and hustling. So I wasn't just like underneath her, and I was going outside with my friends and I was doing stuff, and you know what I mean? So I was never just like underneath her and just being just in her essence and in her presence while she's cooking. I wasn't like standing right behind her while she was doing that. So even though that's not innately a trauma for my children, I'm causing a trauma for them, because they want that affection. My daughter wants to come in the kitchen and cook with me, and she wants to just be sitting on side of me, rubbing my arm while I'm working, and that infuriates me. And now I'm just like, go. I don't want you right here. So for her, she may feel like, oh, well, my mom doesn't want me to be around. Like, she's always telling me she doesn't want me near her. And for me, it's just like, I just want to be alone. Even sometimes my son, he's just like, Mommy, do you want to play with me? And I'm just like, no, I don't. And that's partly because my mom didn't play freaking Barbie dolls with me, and she wasn't like, that's just not the type of mom that I have. And there's nothing wrong with that. It didn't bother me. I didn't feel like that was a trauma to me. But now, as a mom who have children who require those things of me and who want those things from me, I have like this blocker up, because that's just not how I was brought up, if that makes sense. I absolutely love my mom, so I don't want y'all to misconstrue what I'm saying. This is not a dig at her or any shade to her or anything like that. My mom just was about her business. Like, my mom had 2 jobs at one point, or she had a job and a side hustle. Like, my mom was just a working type of mom. For me, I'm a stay-at-home mom. My job is right up in here, up in this house. I'm a homeschool mom. The type of mom that I had and the type of mom that I am are just completely different things, and I do not know how to exemplify that, because that's not what type of mom I had. My mom worked outside of the home. I went to public school. I had a lot of siblings. I had freedom to just like go outside, y'all. Remember when we just used to go outside in the neighborhood? That just doesn't happen. I'm literally terrified to even let my children go outside and play in the front or in the backyard without me being there. We live in such a different time. So where was I going with that? The type of mom that I had and the type of mom that I am are just completely two different things, and I don't know how. So because I don't know how, I'm creating trauma with my own children. I literally see it happening before my eyes, and I don't know how to stop it. You know what I mean? So that is definitely something that I need to, again, self-examine. And in those moments when my daughter wants to cook with me, or when she just wants to rub my arm, or my son wants to play, I have to make myself more vulnerable and available to them in those situations. And it is hard breaking a habit, y'all. It is hard doing something that you just never did. Like, I didn't have that type of mom, and to try to be that type of mom is really weird for me, and it's really hard, and it is really like it's draining sometimes. My first nature is just to kind of like, I'm doing my own thing over here, you need to be doing your own thing over there. But my children are different than how I was as a child, and they require something different. So I need to be able to be there and give them what they're requiring instead of putting my childhood traumas onto them. So you as a mom, you got some homework to do. You got to figure out, okay, what am I projecting onto my children from my own childhood trauma? You know, assess the situation, come up with a game plan, and execute. And then over time, I think that it will get better. And that's something that I am struggling to do, but I'm trying little by little, day after day. Some days are better than other, but you just gotta put your best foot forward and try for the sake of your children. So number 4 is that you just dealing with your own day-to-day stresses and drama and emotions, and then you take it out on your children. I am so guilty of this, y'all. Like, it's crazy. Small story time. When we lost our first daughter, Amira, baby, I was no good to nobody. Not to my husband, not to my children, not to my friends. I was no good. And I had so many emotions. I was sad, I was depressed, I was angry, and I was taking it out on any and everybody who came my way, especially my children. I was so mean to them. I was so rude to them. They did not understand really what was going on. Like, yes, they understood that their sister was dead. They went to her funeral and everything like that. But I think at the time they were 3 years old, maybe 4, and they just really didn't understand like what mommy was going through. So when they would come over to me and they'd be like, "Mommy, you want to play?" I would literally throw the toy across the room and be like, "Get out of my damn face." And I like, because I'm going through my own things, I'm just projecting it onto you, and I'm just being so mean to you, and I'm just saying whatever I want to you because I can, I guess. Like, what are they gonna do? They're gonna tell me, "Mommy, you're being rude"? No, they're just gonna get out of my face and go cry, and that's horrible, but that's just really the reality. I couldn't tell my husband, "Get the hell out of my face," because then he's gonna tell me, "Who is you talking to?" But I know that my children wouldn't. So I don't know, y'all. As I'm saying this out loud, it just seems like I'm just a bully to my kids, and it's really unfortunate, and I don't mean to be. It's just, mom rage is such a real thing, y'all, and it's just, when you have these, like, I'm taking a side detour, but when you have these idea of what you're gonna be as a mom, you really shoot yourself in the foot, because then reality sets in and you are a mom, and then you're the complete opposite of what you wanted to be, and now you're having to backtrack. Like me, I'm having to like try to backtrack and erase some trauma that I have already caused in my children, and it's sad and it's emotional, and I'm not gonna cry, but it is just a really sad thing, because you're like, I did not want to do that. I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to be like that. I don't want to be like this, and I am like this, and now I'm having to figure out how to not be this way. Like, it's really hard. So to just give the mirror image with like your husband, if he comes home from work and he had a really horrible day at work, and as soon as he comes home, he's screaming at you, he's yelling at you, it literally, you did nothing to him all day, and he's just taking all of his anger and frustration out on you, you would be pissed. I know I would. So why are we doing that to our children? Child, I don't know. And I saw TikTok, I'm going to try to find it and insert it, but I saw TikTok and it pretty much said that we do it to them because they're smaller and weaker than us and they're not going to fight us back. And that's really the truth. Like, if you work outside of the home and you're having a horrible day, everything that could went wrong, it did go wrong. When you go to work, you know how to turn it off. If your boss is like getting onto you, you say, yes, sir, Mr. Danbrook, or whatever. I just made that name up. You say, yes, sir, and you suck those emotions in, and you don't go off on your coworkers or on your boss. But when it comes to our children, we don't know how to turn those emotions off. And even sometimes our husbands, we don't know how to turn those emotions off when dealing with our children and our husbands. And talking about the husbands is a totally different video, y'all. But yeah, so we don't know how to turn off those emotions, and that is definitely something that we need to work on, because they don't deserve to be our punching bags, and sometimes, unfortunately, a lot of times they just are. One thing that works exceptionally well for me that I really need to get back into the habit of is waking up before everybody, having tea, praying to God, doing my Bible study, and just having time to regulate my emotions first thing in the morning, so that when everybody wakes up, I have already put myself in a good mood. I've already done it. But when I wake up and everybody's already up, and as soon as I wake up, everybody looking at me talking about, can I have food? Where's my this? Do you want that? Do this, do that. Like, it's fueling my bad mood already. And a lot of times I wake up in a bad mood, y'all, and it's really difficult to navigate through. But that's my own problem, not my children's problem. So I got to figure out how to not take it out on them and turn those emotions off and be the mom that they need me to be, because they are not our in-house punching bags. Like, they cannot be. It's not fair. It's not right. And you wouldn't want anybody to do that to you. You would not want your husband to treat you like a punching bag. Not a physical punching bag, but like a symbolic punching bag. And number 5, our last one, is that you're just an inconsistent parent. This is me, y'all. I am such an inconsistent parent. One week I will be like this, the next week I will be like this, and the children don't even know what the heck to expect from you. So how can you expect them to know what type of children to be if they don't even know what type of parent to expect? I hope that makes sense. For example, one week I could be like super diligent on waking up every morning, getting them dressed every morning, making sure they're on their schoolwork and having dinner ready at this certain time, getting them on their chores, all of these things. And then the next 2-3 weeks, we're waking up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, barely doing any schoolwork. We watching TV, we chilling. Like, I'm not making them do their chores. I'm ordering takeout. Like, children like consistency. They like structure. They like order. Children require discipline, order, structure, some sort of consistency. So when you're an inconsistent parent, you are going to get inconsistent children. That word is tongue-tying me. I have realized within my own children, when we are sticking to a schedule and they have like a list and a chore chart and all of those things, their behavior is significantly better. They're not fighting with each other a lot because they don't have time to fight, because I have them doing things all day. Like, all right, this is breakfast, this is schoolwork, this is playtime, this is quiet time, this is read a book time, this, we're getting ready for bed, we're doing this, we're doing that, it's bedtime. Is like, they don't have time to be doing all of that. But when they have a lot of liberty, and the scriptures talk about when children have a lot of liberty, they abuse themselves. And in this case, when you give them too much liberty, they're going to make a mess. They're going to be fighting and bickering all the time. They're going to be destroying things. They're going to be disrespectful because they have too much free time to do too many things. I know for my children, at least, when we have them on a schedule, their behavior is different. And when we don't have a schedule, the behavior is unpredictable and chaotic, and they be getting on my nerves. But that falls back on me. Everything that your child does at the end of the day falls back on you. Yes, let's say your child is hectic and they're acting crazy. It's because you are lacking in discipline for them. You are lacking in structure for them, and that's why they're acting chaotic and crazy. However your child is acting, it always comes back on the reflection of you as a mom. Same thing for your husband. However you're acting as a wife, it's always going to reflect back on your husband. You know what I mean? And that just goes into the divine order of how God created. We have God, Christ, men, women, children. So if your children are acting crazy, the wife ain't got things on lockdown. If the wife is acting crazy, the husband ain't got things on lockdown. And if the husband is acting crazy, it's because he is not submitting to Christ, so he don't have things on lockdown. You know what I mean? So it is just a trickle effect. So when Christ is just not at the forefront of the family structure, and the Most High is not at the forefront of the family structure is trash. It's trash, y'all. It's trash. So if the woman, so as far as me, if I am not lined up with my husband, who is lined up with Christ, and I'm not following the things that I should be doing as a mother and a wife according to God, my children are going to be out of order. And that is what happens. I'm not doing the things that the scriptures tell me as regards to a mother, and that's why my kids be acting crazy, and that's why I'm mad. And it's just a circle. It's just a cycle and a circle and a ripple effect. Then it goes on and on and on and round and round. So all of these things, all of these 5 things that we just talked about, yes, it's easy to say, well, my kid is like this and my kid is like that, but it really just falls back on you. How are you as a mother? Our mom rage is self-inflicted, because if we were doing what we needed to do as mothers, we would have no need for mom rage, because we would be able to regulate our emotions. We'll be able to talk properly to our children. They would understand what is required of them, and it would just be a happy space. But it's an unhappy space because they don't have any set expectations, or the expectation is way too high. They don't have consistency. You're an inconsistent parent. You project your emotions and your trauma onto your children, and it's just it's murky waters, y'all, and we gotta get better. Like, it's time to level up. This is something that I think about constantly. I pray about all the time. I hate the way that I feel towards my children, and I hate the way that I think they feel towards me. Like, when they grow up, I don't want them to think that their mom was crazy, or that I did not love them, or I didn't care about them, or oh, my mom was just always really angry and she was like always short-tempered. That is not the impression I want to give my children. That's just not how I want them to feel about me. Scripture in Proverbs 31 says that her children call her blessed. Right now, my children call me crazy and cuckoo and psychotic and mean and angry, and that's not the move. So if you do experience mom rage and you feel this constant irritation towards your children, examine these 5 little things. I'm sure there's a lot more, but these are the 5 that I have honed in on and self-examine myself to see, okay, this is one reason why I feel like this. This is one reason why I feel like this regarding me. Yeah, there are things that my children do that just do irritate me, like tearing my damn house up, having toys and trash and all manner of stuff all across the floor. But that just goes back onto me because I'm being an inconsistent parent. So they don't know if today we having chill mama who don't care about the toys on the floor, or we having drill sergeant mama who not gonna play about them toys being on the floor. I have to be more consistent in my expectation of them. So listen, everything falls back onto you as a mom. If your child is out of control, it's because you out of control. And I'm cut. And that's just what it is. I'm finna go to the ER because your girl is leaking because I am cut. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this helped you in some sort of way to be able to identify why you are so upset with your children, and maybe help you rectify that you are upset with your children. I know that we all want to create just safe spaces for our children to live in, and you want to create a bond with them, and that starts with just examining what you could do better as a parent. And this whole video, I've just been sitting here examining what can I do better as a parent, as a mom, to create that structure and that safe space and these ideal children that I want. Because I do believe that expectations are good, because if you have no expectation, how are you going to even create a plan, or how are you going to create a system to even get to a certain outcome if you don't have an expectation? But the expectation cannot just be for the children, it has to be for yourself too. So here's our homework for this video. Yes, we have homework, okay? So we are going to do some self-examination, and I want you to write it down and make it real. Self-examine what you are doing wrong as a mother that is causing your children to act and behave the way that they do, and what is causing this irritation for you. What could you do better as a mom? Write it down, make it real. And from what you are doing wrong and what you are doing better, create some sort of game plan and some sort of strategy. Another thing, y'all, that we need to do is just release the anger and like forgive your kids. Forgive your children from any misbehaviors that they have done, because that's what you want the Lord to do for you. Forgive them. We're doing that today. Let's forgive them and give them a clean slate. I know that whenever I go through this like forgiving season, which I've done a few times, and then I just go back into my holding on to things. But when I do, I just sit down with them, I give them a little chit chat, and I just say, listen, mommy forgives you, and mommy is also sorry for X, Y, and Z, so that they can also forgive me. So forgive your children, have a talk with them, and come up with expectations. If you need to, come up with a game plan, a strategy, a schedule, whatever you need to do to fix this, okay? And I will do the same. I'm gonna get back on my schedule because I have it. It's literally sitting here. I'm gonna get back to doing my chore charts with my children. If you follow me for a while, you already know we had like our money system that we just don't do anymore. I'm gonna go back to doing things that were working for us, because I have completely just done away with things that was working for us, which is crazy cuckoo. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was very informational, and I just really hope it helped. I know that we are all trying to just be better mothers at the end of the day, and it is hard, but listen, we're gonna figure this thing out together. I have not been a mom for a very long time. I've only been a mom for 7 years. I've only been a mom for 7 years, and I'm still figuring it out. I think you're forever figuring it out, honestly, but we're here to figure it out together. If you have any suggestions, or if you have any tips, leave them down in the comment section so that other moms and myself can read them and figure out how to be better parents, because at the end of the day, that is all that we want, okay? Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and share it with another mama, sister, friend who could use this video as well. Make sure to follow me on my social media platforms. I will link them down below. Subscribe to my channel, turn on the post notifications so you never miss an upload, and I will see y'all in my next video. I will be praying for your journey to becoming a better mom, and pray for your girl as well. Bye.